Hi, I'm Dave Hill Jr. and welcome to my site. And this video I'm introducing here is with the brothers Koren, Isaac and Thorald Koren. And two guys I've known for 10 plus years and watched their career. It's been fun to watch. And now they're doing something pretty interesting with voice and teaching people how to connect with their own voice, the sacred power of their own voice. And it's a class I'm taking and enjoying, and I thought I would share it with my followers to just let them know about this exciting work that's being done, and that we all have a song inside us, and we shouldn't be afraid of our own voice or the tiny voices that tell us we don't have a voice. So hope you enjoy this. I planned to be in the interview, but Zoom had other plans and did not record my video portion. So you'll hear me in the interview, but you won't see me, unfortunately. So I've edited it to my best of my abilities today, and hope you find some joy in it. I think it's pretty cool. Thank you. So all right, so that's enough about me. I want to know about you. I want to hear what's gone on a little bit. So I'm kind of curious.
Well, we'll tell you like briefly about how we
please.
that you connected back in with us now. But this goes back a while, obviously, that we just kept going as the Kin and ended up on Interscope and ended up touring. We kind of got the Pink tour, not because of Interscope, from another connection, and that turned into like 40 shows, and we did the Rod Stewart stuff before that, but then we did some other things and started touring, particularly off the Pink stuff, starting developing our touring through US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand.
Right.
And it just, we got lost on the roster when John Janik took over.
Okay.
And we exited fast because we had people to help us. And we got off and we just couldn't find a home. And we knew after all these years, if it was suddenly like, let's go back into a van and do that thing, it felt like we didn't see where next. And so we finished an album, and while we were waiting, trying to feel what was next, we had this strong feeling to move out to LA right in the same 6 months. And we came out to write for others. It was this feeling of like fostering and nurture other voices to the forefront. And everyone was like, yeah, right. Send your B grade songs. And we're like, no, like get in the room with a human. We've always done it with people for movies and different things. Like we want to do it with people. So we set it up and we did it for a few months, and we're like, this is not the LA way. And so on this one conversation, we said, well, what if we put together this like gauntlet, like somewhere between Michael Douglas of the Game movie meets some kind of like Lord of the Rings. Like, what if we put together a journey where we became someone's brothers and went from inception, and for a few months learned and discovered everything about this person and sent them on guided studies and games and to basically mind themselves and unpack like their voice, their story, and the music that's moved them. And it was kind of, the conversation we had was based on all the
down every philosophy,
everything.
You get to know thyself.
Totally. It was know thyself through music and song.
So can that person know thyself in front of curious observers who are adopting kind of a scientific methodology of accreting or collecting cultural capital, just accruing ideas, voice notes, melody in the shower.
And we'd spend
going out into
with the
nature,
person,
just getting feedback and
being interested in themselves.
Ideas, saving them and naming them, claiming them, and then having support, because we realized as collaborative artists that you can't do it alone.
No one,
the
you
lone
need people to
wolf
request
is kind of a myth that it's possible, but it's not available to most of us.
Yeah, we are social creatures after all.
Yeah.
Most of us especially, right?
Yeah, right.
So anyway, we were frustrated with the LA.
We were frustrated with the like boxy, vapid, like write a hit, but we haven't met the artist, and someone might get it to be there. Like we're just
it's cool for many people. It just didn't work.
It was
it kind of rubbed us the wrong way, or didn't land.
Right.
So instead of like closing that door, we kind of slowed it down, and this idea this one morning came to us: becoming someone's brothers, setting up all of these stages and guided games to get them truly to the core of who they are, and then from that vantage point, we'd co-create. From that place, we'd co-create song with them, whether they had ideas or none. And then we go into the studio, after really getting to know them as brothers. And we were aware that it was kind of like putting together what we wish someone had done for us fully in our career, but we were also aware that maybe this was.
But I don't think we would have ever let them.
Maybe not.
You know, like we were too lost in our ego at that point.
But to acknowledge the great artist developers of music history, there's a good chance that what we realized was maybe we were just tapping into our version of what true artist development used to be. Before we were born.
Yeah, sure.
But that was what it felt like. Yeah. Well, there's plenty of documentaries about bands that had like 6 years being developed and like believed in.
We know how we wanted to do it as developers, which was to serve what is, not what we wanted to project onto that person. Like, who are you? Like, be fascinated.
100%.
You know, and fascinated about that person and fall in love with them in a way.
For sure.
Fall in love with their music and like get to know them like they're your best friends. You know, go back to high school when you were falling in love every week.
Right. Yeah,
every day. Just take that part of you.
Well, you moved a little faster than me,
Isaac was faster. But, you know, basically.
Yeah, but I know the feeling.
We got out of this. We got out of the car. We thought, well, this could be a good idea, and then 2 weeks later, someone actually reached out, a Kin fan, and said, "Do you ever work with a first-time artist?" And we said, actually, we do. And we put together this idea on paper. And she came out. She did like 4 songs with us, spent a month out in LA. And then, and it did well. She ended up winning the John Legend songwriting competition at South by with like 4 other people with one of the songs.
Wow.
Bottom line is we started going from one to the other. It was just word of mouth referral. We had a producer that we were working with. We started Braves, which is a writer producer team. And back to the songwriter's journey, which we named it. We've done, maybe 220 human songwriters' journees, maybe 220 people.
220 songwriters' journeys.
We think it's something like that. And
we've stopped counting, actually.
Either private songwriters' journeys that go for about a year to whole albums, or we do it in a small group version where 12 people from all around the world who've never met
That's
go out
by
on their
far
own.
The most exciting kind of
it's amazing.
way of doing it, because you learn from everyone. Like, imagine if, learning from someone like you. So 12 people,
it's like
we're all learning from each other, but on their own individual journeys,
So that's about 6 months. And so
6 months,
we have absolutely written thousands of songs with people that have been writing their whole life and want to write an album that's really them because they got lost in the music business, or all the way to truly terrified and scared people.
The simple way I like to say it is that we did all of the Pink touring and the Rod Stewart and the Coldplay kind of arena stuff, which was incredible, and I'd get back on an arena in a heartbeat.
I bet that's fun. That's all right.
I'd do it again.
You fall in love every week with that.
Right. You fall in love every night. Fall in love every night.
With every city. Every minute. Every song.
Fall in love with each city.
Every night.
Yeah.
And anyway.
That's fun.
After that, and then we did our 2 runs of the whole, circuit from America to New Zealand. We did that twice on our own dime and kind of got to experience, how expensive touring is.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
But anyway, and at the end of that, we kind of did this calculation. We've done this 10,000 hours of touring. Like, we were a live band.
Yeah.
We were a great live band.
We were good at it.
And but we felt like there was something missing in our songwriting. Like, we felt like there was a journey to take that kind of
little did we know
it was the black box.
It was this.
It was a black box.
Right.
When you said black box, I was like, I remember that feeling. Like the label wanting a hit and me going, I don't understand what you mean. I don't know how to get there.
But Dave, I think we've always been these people. So I've been voice coaching for 20 years, and 10 years it's been super alternative behavioral approach. And Isaac's been mentoring people and also writing about music cosmology, which we call it now for sure in our work. So we've been like, even though we're a band on Interscope, we've been alternative in our approach to how music has moved us, how music has called us back home into our bodies, and how voice gives life to everything we do as humans. So we've been up to this anyway, and it just sort of became the focus somehow.
We just kind of kept saying yes. We found ourselves in a position where we just kept going yes, and we're learning to say no now, which is healthy.
That has to happen too. So talk a little bit about these sort of transformations that you lightly glossed over there. Where you said, I've been an alternative behavioral coach, vocal coach, singing coach for 20 years. And then Isaac doing music cosmology, I think.
Just the research since college, 20 odd years on the science and the mathematics of music, and just how entwined it is with so much of our life. And so study people musically, so to speak.
So it's really a 20-year journey. You feel like that's like what I'm feeling like when I witness you guys teaching these classes and being able to drop in, you're really making it like a meditative experience in a flow state for people to really access the present moment as quickly as possible. So that you feel like that's really the foundational work you've done. It's just read lots of books and read,
Well, I think it's more, but to me, what I witness in Isaac is that he's been up to just a deep fascination with how music moves the human experience, but also connects us to God, I would say, like that. Connects us to what life is. And for me, it was like real time. I've been a voice coach since I was 19 or 20.
Wow.
And it was always alternative. I was called to teach sort of like this idea of coming home to the whole body instrument. It was like an early concept of mine, but it was one-on-one in New York. I would go around and teach people in their bedrooms. But I always have been a teacher of mostly voice has been always my main passion. But about 10 years ago, I pretty much struggled my whole 20s with OCD and almost lost my life when I hit a bottom at 30. And it was on a turnaround, and the true answer is it was on an awakening turnaround from that, that I kind of shifted my teaching when I kind of bounced out, came back. I shifted my teaching to helping people come home to their body and learn to become comfortably uncomfortable with all the noise and the feelings. And of course, it was my early version on the behavioral side, kind of gave me the capacity to help co-create the small voices. And of course, I started behaviorally voice coaching, almost 11 years ago. And the voice coaching I was doing was, hardly singing in a way. It was mostly just toning. And I've been up to it ever since. So the root goes deep, and what we both coach is what we both discovered. It's really not about teaching any lineage. It's sort of an origination that we've kind of come across.
I was never meant to be a singer. I don't know if you've heard this story, but I was not going to be a singer at all. And so, there's the voice is surprising, but it very early kind of dawned on me that, since having that strange introduction and a kind of a voice telling me that I will sing. In disbelief, followed it. So
the voice said to you, "You will sing."
Yeah, there's like an accidental spiritual element to
all of it,
to why we're here. There's also, definitely a strong ancestral call to this work. Our grandmother is very creative, and she couldn't stand, the small voices and the whatever was plaguing her, perhaps, and and then our own mum, who we've come full circle with, and we're like, she's in quarantine in Australia, and she left all of the kids, including an 11-year-old daughter, and to claim her voice in New York City on the stage. I mean, on Broadway, if she could.
Yeah, please give her my best, by the way. I need a haircut right now, but she used to cut my hair. And
Kay did, well, Madeline.
Oh, it was Kay did. That's true. Yeah,
Kay. But Kay and Mom were like this, like one.
Kay's your mom's best friend.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay.
She's moved back to Australia.
Yeah, she's in Adelaide now.
Okay.
Yeah, a while back.
But Mum is back with us and back and forth. But she's writing. She's kind of leading the charge, or we're leaning on her to download her kind of, we're kind of including her voice in, and she's leading the charge in this Broadway musical that we're writing too. So,
wow,
there's
you're writing a Broadway musical. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, or an off, whatever.
Right.
It's
you're writing a musical. You're writing
a rock opera on the Magdalene.
Yeah. So how did you learn to be such great facilitators, though? Is this like, do you feel like it's
through concerts,
through
kin shows? Because we kind of started there, like we'd get off the stage And it happened first in Minneapolis because the PA went out. We're like, shit, we got to finish the stage. So we got off the stage and suddenly realized that when we're standing with people, suddenly we're like hosting a collaboration.
Yeah. I see that in the YouTube videos too, like the bonfires and the different, like the event where they're all singing.
Called to do that. We've always been called to kind of,
from that moment on, like once we lost the mystique of the stage, and like the fourth wall was actually broken for us. You know, we didn't have the balls.
And then when we created Musical Robbery, we did this thing called Musical Robbery for years, where we'd go into places unannounced and uninvited. I mean, we're often kicked out, security police one time.
That would not fly anymore.
We would go around and pretend it was the beginning of the movie Pulp Fiction, and instead of having a gun, I'd strum the guitar and Isaac would go, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is a musical robbery," and we'd like play this song. And we did it in libraries, and diners, and coffee shops, and airports, and law reviews in the University of Wellington once, which it was a bad idea. They threatened to sue us on social media at one point because of our disruption. So we've always moved to break the stage audience thing. Like we've never, and I think now looking back on it,
definitely an expression of our frustration with the music business, I believe.
But we also wanted to move people. You know, we wanted to catch people off guard and invite them out of the normal.
We even robbed John Janik, since you mentioned him. We even robbed his
the meeting,
his head meeting. He was running Universal like this. All of his A&R. It was like the worst meeting to rob, and we knew we were being glossed over at best.
We broke in.
So we broke in to the meeting, sat on the finance guy's lap. I loved that, and like drank his thing and like cheers to
Isaac
John
would lick
Janik.
people's eyes.
It was like a little.
We digress.
We were frustrated, like either hear me now or let me go. You know?
Right.
I want to answer your question though, because I feel like
the renegades.
We saw that was the renegade side.
But
the other side, other side of it was that we really wanted to make it about them in a show, and we noticed that.
Right.
We'd play a big show. We're like, but even if we were Pink and we could bring this many people, and Pink's like aerialing around trying to be near them, it still didn't feel like enough. We were thirsty to connect and help them be in their voice. We didn't know that at the time, but that was the feeling. But then I also want to add to the facilitation. I want to say, for me, it's all of the years of coaching, and particularly not just coaching someone like, hey, I'm going to show you something so you pay me for the hour.
Right.
It's more like seeing where someone is, and without them consciously thinking too much, helping move them to the next place, and then going, look where you are now. And they look back and like, oh my God, it's a magic trick. And I've always been fascinated by facilitating, magically helping people move and override what's in their way and somehow end up in a new destination. And I see that with Isaac's mentoring too. Like we both have this way of almost sleight of hand facilitating.
I just want to acknowledge you because it was magical thinking that almost took your life. And so now
that's a good spin on the story.
To shift it to the next thing, which is a superpower, perhaps that we each have. And I think what we really are fascinated in is showing people their superpower. For if they can't see it, like seeing it for them and saying, "Do you see it? Do you see your incredible gift? Do you? What is it? Are you afraid to suck, or are you afraid to be great?
And maybe
you're afraid that you're actually one of a kind and needed, or is that more scary, or is it the I don't matter that's more scary? Because I think we hide in these small voices because they're safer.
But as a facilitator,
the greater conversation.
I believe a lot of facilitators, they lead with what sucks about someone and how they could help them become more like them.
Which is a safer conversation.
So the facilitator puts themselves on a pedestal and says, one day you'll be like me if you suck less here and here and here, and let me help you. And what we do is come in and say, this little piece of you is great. We're going to lift that up. And we bypass the other parts. We bypass the inexperience or things that are in their way.
Support.
And we just lift up the best. And I think it's a choice to be that kind of facilitator, a generous, curious facilitator. And we believe that in our work, if we do that, then people will do that for themselves and do that for others around them.
That was the end of the interview portion. And I didn't get a formal goodbye from them until much later, and our conversation weaved in lots of places. So I just wanted to share with you the essence of their voice work and this Sacred Journey program that they have. You can check out more at thebrotherscoren.com and also through the Shift Network's course as well. The links will be in the blog post. Love to know your feedback and thoughts on working with your own voice and how that works. And maybe I'll see you in one of my Make Your Own Mantra sessions when that's right for you. Thanks for watching.